Many view the later years of life as a slow descent, a simple waiting for the end. But consider this: there are pathways, patterns of mind and action that can obscure the light in your final decades. If you find yourself walking even a few of these paths, your journey's end could be clouded by deep regret. Let's walk together through these observations. The final insight we will touch upon is the most profound: a quiet sorrow. When we observe our elders in this modern age, we can perceive a profound sadness beneath the surface. We see individuals who have journeyed through life for many years, gathered vast reservoirs of experience, and faced countless challenges. Yet, many now reside in a state of quiet stillness, moving through their days as if their inner light has already dimmed. Their bodies may continue, but the spirit seems to pause. They are present, but not truly participating. The most significant truth is that this spiritual quietness is not a destiny. It is a direction chosen, step by step, through habits that drain the vitality of the soul. The first pattern that diminishes our later years is the heavy stone of resentment. In our lives, we meet many souls whose hearts have become landscapes of past grievances and unresolved pains. They hold these memories with a tight grip, speaking often of how others failed them long ago, how circumstances deprived them of their due. This narrative of being wronged can become the central story of one's existence, the main fuel for their daily thoughts. But resentment is a river that erodes its own banks. Each day you choose to replay old hurts. You choose to anchor yourself to a time that has passed. You tether your present peace to people who may be unaware of your continued suffering, to events that have long dissolved. Those who carry this weight often speak with an edge, find discord in their interactions, and then wonder at their own growing loneliness. This pattern can diminish the spirit long before the body begins to fade. When you cling to resentment, the person you are truly restraining is yourself. You are choosing to inhabit your most painful memories instead of creating space for new warmth. You allow what is gone to cast a shadow over the precious time you have now. The path to releasing this burden is not to deny that harm occurred. It is to understand that letting go is not an act for them. It is a profound act of compassion for yourself. It is about choosing inner freedom over the familiar weight of being a victim, a chosen stillness. The second pattern that invites sorrow in our later years is the gradual withdrawal into isolation. We can watch as people slowly retreat from the river of life, stepping back from friendships and community. They may tell themselves this is a form of strength, yet it often becomes a state of profound emptiness. They might believe they require no one, that human connection is complex, that solitude is simpler. This retreat is rarely a sudden act. It is composed of small choices, saying no to gatherings that seem to require effort, letting calls go unanswered because talk feels tiresome, ceasing to engage in shared activities that remind you of what has been. Each choice seems small, but together they build the walls of a silent sanctuary that keeps out not only difficulties, but also connection, compassion, and the shared energy that flows between human beings. We have seen elders who pass days without sharing a word, with no one to receive their thoughts, and no one to notice their quiet struggles. They exist in rooms filled with the ghosts of past relationships, surrounded by reminders of a life from which they have disconnected. This isolation is often rooted in a form of pride that masks a deep fear of vulnerability. You tell yourself you wish not to be a burden, but what you truly fear is appearing in need, admitting that the fundamental human longing for connection still burns within you. And so, you may choose the quiet fading of loneliness over the courage of reaching out. But human beings are like trees in a forest. We are nourished by our connections. The elders who find grace in aging understand this truth. They tend to their relationships and stay connected to the flow of life around them. They know that giving and receiving care is not a convenience. It is essential to the vitality of the spirit, a still mind. The third pattern is to allow the mind to become a quiet, undisturbed pool where no new currents flow. We encounter elders who cease to invite new knowledge into their lives, after they finish their work, who stop seeking fresh perspectives. They fill their days with passive consumption and wonder at the source of their own feeling of emptiness and mental fog. The mind is a garden. If you cease to tend it, it becomes overgrown with the familiar weeds of old thoughts and limiting beliefs. You can become mentally inflexible, resistant to the flow of change, and unable to see beyond the person you were years ago. We have observed once. Vibrant minds become shadows of their former selves because they adopted the belief that learning belongs only to the young. They set aside deep reading, avoided engaging conversations, and stopped exploring new territories of thought. They concluded they were too old for their inner world to expand. And bit by bit, their mind became a room with no windows. The most awake and alive elders are those who remain students of life until their last breath. They approach new ideas with curiosity. They read things that challenge what they know, and they engage in conversations that stretch their own understanding. They understand that the growth of the mind is a matter of heart, of deep curiosity, and of refusing to believe your best insights are behind you. When you keep your mind in a state of flow, you maintain your sense of wonder and your capacity for joy. You remain a flowing river, not because you seek to be young, but because you are committed to being fully present in any season of life. A neglected vessel. The fourth pattern is to surrender the body to the winds of change without mindful partnership. We see elders who relate to their bodies as worn-out tools, accepting discomfort and diminished ability as the unavoidable tax of time. They cease to move with intention, stop nourishing their physical form, and then are puzzled when each day feels like a contest against their own vessel. Your body is not a separate thing. It is your companion for this entire journey. It has carried you through all of life's seasons and deserves your gratitude and mindful attention, not your resignation. When you disconnect from your body, you disconnect from your ability to participate fully in the world. Much of what is considered aging is simply the outcome of sustained habits, not an absolute law of biology. The stiffness and weakness that many accept as their unchangeable reality can often be transformed through gentle, consistent care. We have seen those in their later decades who move with a quiet power that surpasses those much younger. The difference is not their birthright, it is their daily practice. They chose to keep the river of energy flowing when it was easier to be still. They chose to honor the body as a temple worthy of care. Physical vitality in your later years is not about striving to reclaim the past. It is about mindfully maintaining the simple capacity to live with autonomy, to engage with the world you love, to be of service, and to feel the quiet joy of inhabiting a body that is at peace with your spirit. A forgotten purpose. The fifth pattern is to believe that the end of one's professional life signals the end of one's contribution to life itself. We witness many who spend decades cultivating skills and wisdom, only to let it all fall away at a certain age defined by others. You might tell yourself you have earned the right to be idle, to have no further role, to matter to no one. But we are beings of meaning. We are designed to feel that our existence ripples outward, that we offer something of value, that our being here serves something beyond our own ease. When you set down your sense of purpose, you risk setting down the very spark that illuminates life. We have seen people who were once vital and engaged become downcast and unwell soon after they stopped contributing, for they no longer had a reason to rise with the sun. They sought freedom from obligation, but found instead a freedom from meaning. The elders who flourish are those who understand that their purpose transforms, but never truly vanishes. They may no longer work in a formal way, but they discover new channels to serve, to guide, to create, and to make a difference. They share their wisdom with the young, support causes that move their hearts, or simply become fountains of love for their families and communities. Purpose is not found in a career. It is found in the conscious choice to remain connected to the stream of life, to continue to let your own inner light shine for others, regardless of your chapter in the book of life. An empty inner space, The sixth pattern is to face the truth of our impermanence without any inner sanctuary, without a connection to a reality larger than your own story. As the body's journey nears its end, and worldly pleasures lose their hold, as you witness the departure of loved ones and face the clear truth of your limited time, you require something deeper than external accomplishments to find peace. We have spoken with many elders who spent their lives gathering things, titles, and stories, only to find in their later years that none of these offer solace when facing the great questions of being. Who am I beneath my roles? What is the essence of the life I've lived? How do I meet what comes next with peace instead of fear? Without a cultivated inner life, these questions can become sources of deep unease, rather than doorways to profound peace. The elders who have ignored their inner world are often filled with fear and cling desperately to what is fading. But the elders who have tended to their inner garden, whether through quiet reflection, spiritual practice, or deep communion with nature, approach their final season with a sense of wholeness. They understand they are a part of a much larger story, that their life has a meaning that transcends individual accomplishments, and that what we call death is a transition, not an end. Developing this inner connection is about cultivating the inner ground that allows you to face life's ultimate passage with wisdom and a quiet heart, a foundation of sand. The seventh pattern is a lack of foresight with one's resources, which turns the golden years into a time of dependency and deep concern. We see people who had sufficient means during their working lives find themselves in hardship later because they never cultivated the practice of mindful saving and planning for the seasons to come. Financial peace in your later years is not about vast riches. It is about having a stable ground beneath your feet, which allows you to maintain your dignity and ease when you are no longer earning. It is about not becoming a weight for your children and not having to make difficult choices between sustenance and health. The path to financial stability is not complex, but it does ask for awareness and the wisdom to value future peace over present impulse, a practice that our modern world does not always encourage. People spend years living on the edge of their means, telling themselves they will plan for their future someday, but that someday inevitably arrives. The pressure of financial worry in later life touches everything: your health, your peace of mind, and your ability to be present in the time you have left. The elders who age with a sense of security almost always share one thing. They learned early to live with mindfulness, to set aside resources consistently, and to plan for the journey ahead. They understood that while money is not the source of inner peace, a stable foundation is essential for it to blossom. The deepest insight, an eighth pattern, is to see death as a foe to be fought, rather than a natural part of life to be met with understanding. Our world teaches us to turn away from this truth, to resist it, and to view any acknowledgement of our own mortality as a failure. But this turning away creates the very fear it tries to prevent. In our work, we find that those who struggle most at the end are not always those in the most physical discomfort. They are those whose spirits are not prepared for this great transition. They spend so much of their life avoiding the thought of their own ending that when it can no longer be denied, they meet it with a storm of unresolved feelings. But the ninth and most profound pattern, the one that can truly cloud one's later years, is the refusal to accept a simple truth. Aging is not about becoming less than you were. It is about the potential to become more fully yourself than you have ever been. It is the distillation of all you have learned, all you have endured, and all you have become. It is your moment to embody your life's deepest wisdom. When you resist the flow of time, instead of embracing this final, masterful chapter, when you strive to remain the person you once were instead of becoming the magnificent soul you are now, when you see the lines on your face as flaws, rather than as a map of your incredible journey, you miss the deep beauty and power that comes with having truly lived. The elders who inspire us are not those who appear the most youthful. They are those who wear their years with grace, who have allowed their life experience to ripen into wisdom, their wounds to become strength, and their journey to carve a depth of spirit that only a full life can create.